I would say maybe try Survivor for a bit. No, but it's true. I mean, change it up. Maybe you're just tired, you know, or play something else for a week. Start Civilization or something.
Get your fucking hands off! Hey.
All right.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our little corner of the world. Today is actually a very special day for me because I believe my dad actually might be watching. Bonjour, Monsieur Côté. Content de vous avoir ici.
By the way, Bjorn was laughing the whole video. He was trying to do the countdown while laughing.
So there.
All right.
Let's get this started. First of all, thank you, Bjorn, for helping us with this.
And we're gonna list our mods. Azayu, Murph, Shiroku, a suggestive, Vorfitis, and Clyde and Getaways are here too. Thank you guys.
Thank you for joining us. All right, let's get to this. I just have this reminder that I need to be doing my Twitch right now. That's nice. Okay, so Reddit Q&A.
Well, Reddit Q&A. So we started this week. First time I logged in, there was 200 comments. So I was not able to answer all the questions. I've talked with the Reddit mods, and next week there's going to be a limited amount of questions, because for every question I have to find the person that it's going to be addressed to. They have to have the time to answer me, and I have to write down an answer to people.
Yeah.
So I tried to answer as much as I could this week. But yeah,
but I think
there was a lot of participation, and this is freaking amazing. And what we're gonna try to do with these questions and answers will be doing a FAQ. That way, when questions come back over and over again, we can direct people to go to the FAQ.
I just saw the second point here, which is something that I forgot to bring here. So if Bucket or if McLean are watching, or someone, no, they'll figure it out. On my desk, there's a small little beigeish, brownish, burnt box. Please bring it here if you see this or if you can. Thank you. Lunar New Year has been extended.
Yeah. We have a few issues, so
there is a few issues on console specifically, and we want to make sure that everybody could get a proper chance to collect those cool cosmetics.
Longer. Yeah.
So we just decided to add a little more time.
Yeah, we still have the issue of the crashing on the Xbox, and we are painfully aware that it is there. So we have someone working really hard to fix that. Yeah.
But that's it. So you'll have the weekend, and if hopefully we're gonna fix it, but you know, within a quick enough time frame.
Extended till the 5th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, which is on Monday. So you still have the whole weekend. Yeah. Next thing, screenshot contest. How's that going?
Yeah. Well, actually, the community voted, and what we were supposed to do is to take the 10 first.
Yeah.
And
first, as in
the 10 first on the 50 that we showed the community.
Yeah.
And then vote internally, but we went with the community vote because we figured, hey, there's so many people who voted. Over 10,000 people voted on this. So we figured, hey, if 10,000 people agreed that these three are the first ones, that's the first ones that are gonna win.
The team still voted, but essentially we're part of the community vote.
Exactly. That's pretty much what happened.
Well, that's perfect.
So
yeah, you want to show some stuff?
So what I'm gonna show is the 10 first, and we're gonna start with the 10th, going up to the first and the
like
the
a
winner.
top 10 or something.
Top 10, chosen by the community.
There you go. You actually.
You guys. So first, 10th place.
Number 10.
What is this one here?
Is that the name of the person, or is it part of the screenshot?
I didn't
No,
put
okay.
the names because they were personal names, which I'm not gonna put out there.
Thank you.
That one has a beetle.
It's very Abbey Road, yeah.
That was one of my favorites.
Yeah, no,
the lighting was freaking amazing. Nice. Very funny.
Celebratory.
Yeah.
Too many hags.
There's actually what was interesting with this one. I think.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Nice.
That one was also one of my favorite. Sadly, it didn't go up to the third place.
It was pretty high.
I thought it was very clever.
I haven't seen my favorites so far, but number
okay,
3.
So number 3 actually gets.
What's the prize?
Well, we have it up there, but it's cosmetics.
Yeah.
So a signed copy of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God, I am going
Blanking out?
blank. I'm blank.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and a bag, beanie,
Bunch of swag.
bunch of swag that we're gonna send your way.
Cool.
So for the 3 winners, we're gonna contact you early next week through your information, and we will make sure that you receive everything you won. So, 3rd place.
That's really cool.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like it. 2nd place. That was one of my favorites. It's very nice timing on that one.
And a little, okay, 1st place also has a pair of sneakers. For
yes.
sneakers. 1st place, a little story behind it.
Yes,
apparently
please.
the guy took over 400 screenshots to get that one shot. So the 1st place is
Nice.
this guy.
Yeah, the timing on this one must have been rather tricky.
So very dynamic composition. Good job, guys. We
Well
had
done.
1,606 screenshots. 5 of them were selfies. 1 of them was a toast image.
Just an image of a toast.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
that was what it was. It was very painful
Go
time
through the
to
whole
go
thing.
through. Actually, it was amazing, but it was a long and excruciating process. But we did it, guys. Good job. You guys participating a lot in there. So
It's
Amazing.
always fun whenever we do that, whenever we do surveys or anything like that, really, to see the amount of people that actually join in on this.
absolutely.
It's cool. Thank you. This pretty straightforward, but obviously the Lunar New Year is going to end at the end of the weekend.
Yep.
So next week we will be kicking off a survey about the
Yes,
event.
About how it went, what we should do next time, not do,
Yeah.
suggestions, what you like the most,
I
stuff
mean,
like that.
we could see already the things that really got people fired up and the things that people really didn't care about. So obviously we're making notes, but we want to know more. We want to give you an opportunity to give us details and to really speak your mind so that we can do even better and more exciting stuff in the future.
Yes.
So there.
A quick note on sound issues and crashes. We are aware. We are
Yeah.
working on it. And so, of course, on other stuff, but those are the 2 main things we're working on. Thank you.
All right. Why was the Trapper's hooking animation suddenly changed to be the same as the Hag, Kruger, and Pig? I was not aware of a change to that, but I'll ask David Bonovo. There must be an answer. There we go. All right, I have here the official list of questions that were collected by our friendly Murph. I went around, asked some questions, got some answers, and you have some answers too. So let's go through this. First question, what's going to happen to Tinkerer? So specifically, Tinkerer is one of the perks that keeps coming back because with the new killers, with the new power sets, with all these things, it's not scaling very well. It happens because we create things at the very beginning of the game. It's one of the first perks that was created, and we had some ideas, but then things changed, and we grew the powers and add-ons and all these things in different directions from what it was originally intended. So that perk is not, it's a little clunky now. It's not as relevant to some of the killers. So it's part of the perk reworks that we want to do. It's not happening today because we want to work on a few other things before that. But there's going to be a pass of perk reworks. There's going to be global, so it's not going to be specifically to Tinkerer. But we are absolutely aware that Tinkerer is not scaling as well as some other perks, and it's not as relevant as some of the killers. Question here from Pretty Good Job So Far. It's a nice name. I remember a long time ago it was said that the Hag Cube was being looked into along with totems. Is that still a go or no? There were some tweaks in the last patch. I believe the terror radius of the Hag was reduced from 28 meters to 24, something like that.
There was also a few bug fix and a few things that broke.
Yeah.
So right now on Hag, we're not doing the Hag Cube right now.
No, but there were improvements that were made. Just the fact that now it's a trigger, it's a different button to teleport, and these things happened over time. I mean, it's not done. It's still, I mean.
Yes, but I think it's mainly about totems also,
yes,
because we said that we were
and totem
going
system,
to get them together. So so this is not being worked on right now. That's for sure. It is not out of the question, though.
Okay. Here, after making adjustment to the emblem systems, do you plan on doing a second PTB to check how well the updated emblem system works? That's something I was asking our lead designer, Mathieu Spriggans. And he should come to the stream soon to be introduced and to face the questions hot from the oven, so to speak. So we're debating right now. We're wondering if the changes are critical enough, we might want to do another PTB before we release the emblems. It's a possibility. We haven't made a decision on that right now. We're still, at the moment, working on implementing changes based off the feedback from the PTB. Which survivor do you like the most? I assumed I'm the one that was being asked because I can't really. Well, I could ask him, but I did. He's like, no, you answer. So I'll say Nia because just Nia, but everybody knows that. You're.
My answer, well, it's
Megace.
Meganace.
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 And which killer do you like the most? You're a nurse. You're just a.
Totally.
Yeah, nurse forever. For me, it's the Hag. It's just. Still, the most fun I have is playing the Hag. Which do you think should get nerfed or buffed? Well, that's a large question.
Yeah,
I think
there's a lot of issues that are not related to the power of killers that need to be fixed before we buff or nerf anything.
I agree. Lore question here: what happens to the killers when they finish a match? Do they all go to a place similar to the survivors' campfire together, or does the entity keep them separated and at their own realms? I really just wanted to show, we had a really cool picture of a Wraith cosplayer just laying down on his bed with nothing happening at some point.
I was scared of the end of that sentence. A Wraith on his bed with nothing. I was like, oh my god, where is this going?
I couldn't find it again, but essentially the answer is they are not kept together. They are all in their own place and they're not really enjoying themselves.
Okay. Thanks for reassuring me.
Okay, so a question we almost answered earlier. In your recent patch notes, you don't mention the audio issues that killers are suffering from. Are you not aware of them? Because they're there.
That's a detail that I want to make sure that everybody understands. When we add known issues to patch notes, which is probably something that we will do a lot more in the future, it is not known issues on the entire game. It's the known issues on this patch specifically.
Like we know we are
introducing
something.
We know we are sending a patch with these issues.
Yeah.
We're aware of that. Here's the ender. That's not like saying, oh, known issues on the whole game.
Yeah.
From like since the beginning. So it's for that patch specifically. So that's why the audio issues, these specific audio issues were not there because they were already in the build.
Yeah.
There you go.
When is the Chinese Firecracker and Winter Party Starter going to become part of the main loot pool with add-ons and stuff? It's also a shame the Chinese Firecracker was not part of this event. For those who missed it last time, a missed opportunity in my opinion. very valid opinion. But we did add firecrackers, this time in the shape of, they were in the lobby, they were exploding everywhere, and they were wrapped up around gens and hooks. It was the way we celebrated this time. That does not mean that the firecrackers and the party starters are not coming back in a fully fledged way, but this time we decided to celebrate differently. Okay, as you know, my question last week was lore-based, Gun Mech 04, and I have another, because evil cannot exist without there being good. That's an opinion, by the way. It could, I guess. Is it possible that our dear Benedict Baker is more than just a random survivor in the entity's realm? Could he possibly be tied to something outside of the dark entity's reach? He seems to know things about the new survivors and killers that have been brought there. He is a researcher. He does dig quite a lot more than the others. He tries to understand things. So yeah, he's always gonna have a little more knowledge than the others. I'm not gonna say he's linked to anything, but there's definitely something up with that guy. Also, he's been there for a while, but then again, time is sort of wobbly in that place. If console killers disconnect, all survivors get host disconnected message. We gain 0 blood points and we lose our items. Is that going to change? That's a big one. It's not just on console. It's everywhere. It's the fact that, like we mentioned this before, we answer this question regularly, and I think that whenever it's asked, it's a good, it's a moment to answer it again. Having the disconnects be clearly identified, like knowing who disconnected, why, if possible, like is it voluntary, is it a crash, is it just a temporary disconnect? All these things are things that are easy to do with dedicated servers. With the way we're doing things with the peer-to-peer connections, it is an incredibly complex problem. So we don't have all that information. As soon as you're disconnected, you're not linked anymore because there's no external place that holds that information. So it would be, it's a challenge that we keep looking at. There are many ways to do this, but we haven't found the right way yet. So it's something that we're still looking into. Yeah, there's conversations about that regularly.
There's a few questions from the chat we can have. I want to answer really quickly the one with Insidious. Where is it? I think it's the second one, third one. Okay.
What about shadow nerf to Insidious you guys did that was not in the patch notes?
So what happened is, and I asked the sound guy actually. Mm-hmm. So they changed a little bit how the heartbeat works. They didn't change specifically the perk Insidious. They changed a little bit how the heartbeat works when we introduced the pig on the Saw chapter, because she was, the way it was, the sound was going away was too sudden, so you would know for a fact that she was going in a crouch position. So now it's I don't know exactly what the word is.
It's a gradient.
It's a fade out. Yeah. And this is why it changes the Insidious perk. As for the consequences, maybe we can ask the design team and see what they want to do with Insidious now that it's changed.
Yeah.
Because of that. Great. Thank you, guys.
Will there be events with special event maps? I mean, for example, the Christmas map called North Pole with snowman, presents, etc. Maybe. I mean, it's not.
Do we have the bandwidth to make a whole map and then just for one event? I'm not sure.
Probably not. I think personally, I like, I like better what we did, let's say, during the holidays with the hooks and the barrels having lights and things like that. That's propagated everywhere. Although, I mean, it's not out of the question. We could find something fun to do with that, and yeah, it could happen, I guess. Bonsoir, allez-vous faire des nouveaux emotes pour les personnages pour plus d'interaction entre eux ou même un système audio? So are we going to do emotes for the characters for more interactions between them? I'm pretty sure you mean the gestures that we have in the game. And an audio system. So audio system, we've answered that I think, every month since the launch of the game about a year and a half ago. We're not going to do in-game voice or proximity or anything like that. And as far as gestures for characters, for interactions, it's possible. We've talked about it internally. There are other things that characters might want to be able to discuss, so we'll give them some way to express things.
Characters to discuss, they're not discussing.
Well, you know.
Pointing. Okay. No, I'm just making sure that
it's still
we're all...
communication.
Yeah.
It's been a while since you showed some stats. What about the most used and the most effective killing-wise killer add-ons? Yes, that would be cool. Our stats guy is out. So we still have stats internally that we have access to. We're not completely cut off. But the reporting and the analysis is not being done as regularly as it was before, because he is right now a father. But he's coming back. That's a weird one. The Make-A-Wish Foundation. If the Make-A-Wish Foundation contacted you about a child wanting to make a killer, would you agree to it?
That is totally not my decision.
I mean, if we were contacted by I don't think the Make-A-Wish Foundation would contact us, because the game is 18 plus in most regions anyway.
There you go.
So that's pretty much where it would end. That being said, we've been in contact with a few charity organizations for reasons here and there, and we've done as much as we could in these cases. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Have you considered... Greetings, my dear developers. I have a questions. Okay. Why is the Nightmare's sweater red and black and not red and green? It is a very valid question, and the answer is simplicity itself. He is exactly the way the licensor wanted that character to look. That's it. The Fake Real Claudette asks, have you considered adding a system where the killer can end the game after X amount of time, and that an exit gate has been opened so that the survivors are limited to prolonging the end game? That's a big question.
Well, actually, I've seen a couple of ideas from the design team, but they didn't really have a time to like stop and work on this one. Yeah.
Well, so we've talked about a lot of the stalemate situations. Yep. One thing is, and that's what was the answer from Mathieu earlier. You know, there are some games that last a long time, and they are a really cool, epic showdown where both are still acting, and it's an epic game. And we don't want to prevent these things from happening, but hostage taking is very, very bad, and we don't want that to happen.
It's funny because we had this exact discussion on someone's stream today. Okay. About the hatch situation.
Yeah, which is the same thing. I mean, sometimes it's really, really cool because it's two good players and they're well matched and there's some fun to be had there. That's why we haven't just outright removed these situations, and we want to be careful about removing these options. But yeah, we want to find ways to remove those stalemates and hostage situations. Can we talk about how the hooks are so close to each other?
Well, yes, we talked about it in a previous stream when we changed hook generation to have hooks closer to the basement. We put a number of hooks per map, and now that they're closer to the basement, but they can also be closer to each other, which actually brings us back to the generation tool that our design team is
working on.
Yeah. Well, working on getting.
Yeah. Well, they're doing the design so that the programmers can then create it. Lore-wise, why can survivors not communicate while in trial? Does the entity prevent them from doing so? Can they communicate outside of the trial? That is a very, very good question. That place is not a real place. As in, it is closer to the idea of a place and the nightmares. And sometimes in nightmares, you have things that you're trying to do that are not working the way you want them to, and it's stressful and it's unpleasant and it's frustrating and you don't understand why, and that is maybe part of the explanation why you can't really talk to each other. You wanted to point at something? Nope.
No, I'm good.
Okay. When the offerings are shown before the loading screen and I hover over them with my mouse pointer, then there's no tooltip with a description displayed. It seems this bug exists almost since release and got even worse. Why has it never been fixed? Well, it's not since release, but it's been there for a bit. And the reason why it's never been fixed is simply because there are issues with the UI. There are things that we're also trying to just improve on with our UI, which means that the UI team, which is quite small, ends up having really harsh priorities, and this has never been a top priority until today. Well, I'm saying until today. It just hasn't been a top priority yet. There's always something else that pops in that's more important to fix or to improve on. That's the sad reason, but it's the truth. What else? Will there ever be a way for killers to regress progress on exit gate opening? Like you flip the switch for a few seconds.
Yeah, that's something I've heard quite a lot. So I know the design team got a hold of. We're aware
They've
of
heard that
idea. Yeah.
And they've kicked it around a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure it ever went into anything though, but
I don't know. It's not that long. I mean, unless you're using something to influence it, but it's not that long compared to the gen. So I don't know. It's an interesting question here. So we have Dweird and Dweirder. When do we get Dweirdest? I don't know, but I'll ask Dave. When do we get Dweirdest? Right. Will the red envelopes offering be wiped out of inventories when the event ends, or do we keep them as like a collector's thing? That's a very good question. Do you know the answer to that?
We answered that like a few times already. So the blood web that is generated, if there's a red envelope and the event ends, it's still going to be there. The ones in your inventory are still going to be there. If you are using them, you're doing nothing.
There you go.
You're not getting the blood point.
But you can keep them as a collector's item.
Keep them if you want. They might be used in a future event. Just saying.
All right. There. Okay. The Nocturnal Owl asks, back in 2016, around the time the nurse arrived on the scene, people discovered in the files a power icon for a new killer. The power icon was a ruler. There was also a perk with a survivor wearing a pointed dunce cap that came with the update, hidden within the files as well. I've always wondered whether we could get to hear about this scrapped idea if it is indeed scrapped. Might this be possible? I have no idea what you're talking about. Seriously? I looked, I couldn't see anything, so I don't know. Then we have, you mentioned in the previous dev stream that you wanted to do something with crows, so what's going on with that? Any ideas? Yeah, we've talked about a few of the ideas that we've had, but I'd love to have a hex perk that makes crows injure survivors if they're disturbed, with maybe a percentage of chance of that happening. I would call it Hex Pluck. It's very clever. So Mathieu thought it was an interesting idea. We've had a few ideas with the...
Why a hex perk though?
I don't know. I don't know.
Especially
if it's a hex perk and it's a low percentage chance of happening, it makes it not an exciting perk.
And keeping my perks.
So, but yeah, definitely it's a very cool idea. Thank you. We like very cool ideas. What are your thoughts on meta perks? Do you believe that meta perks should even exist in the first place in a game like DBD? So any game that has strategy in it has a meta game. It's part of, learning about a game. If there's more than one strategy possible in a game, if there's more than one way to go about doing things, then you're going to get a meta game of what is the best strategy and what are the best combos and discussions about that. However, I think that one of the things that I'm happy about right now in the state of the game is the fact that there used to be like an ultimate build, and nowadays the range of the perks, or the the add-ons, the stuff that you use to build your meta is bigger than it was. There are more options. There are there are different opinions on what's the best build, what's the best build if you're playing Nurse, what is the best build if you're playing this. And that to me speaks of a richer environment and a healthier game. So,
but there are always going to be meta.
There's always going to be
builds.
Perks that are considered meta in the sense that they are, better than the others, or they work better together, and this is a more efficient strategy.
I think it was also a way to say, hey, shifting the meta, is that going to happen too? Well, we'll see in the future.
It's not the same now as it was a couple of months ago. Mm-hmm. It keeps shifting.
Some things have been there for a while, though.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Self-Care and Sprint Burst are classic. I don't think Decisive Strike is going anywhere. For now. Okay. Hey, devs. Glad to see you guys. So my question is lore-based. Could it be possible to implement a diary or scrapbook tab in the menu that automatically fills with clues about the entity's realm upon discovery of certain conditions? Would be cool to discover unique things about the world and have a place you can research lore and read about characters or tidbits like Vigo, Benedict, and the changes they've made to the fog and how the entity works. That is very, very cool. It's something we talked about at the very beginning. The lore for us was always very important. We wanted to have different ways of telling the story, of having you dig for pieces and hints, and being able to put that together. A few games do this very, very well, picking up pieces, collecting items that you then put together, and then you have a place in the menus where you can check all this. It's really, really cool. It's exciting, but since it was never considered to enhance the actual gameplay as a mechanic, it was always pushed aside, especially at the beginning of the production. And since then, we've always looked at it as something that would be very, very cool. But since it doesn't improve the gameplay, it doesn't make the game, tighter, more balanced. None of these things. It doesn't really add more content. It was never actually implemented. So we keep telling our story. We keep putting hints in there. There are pieces of the story that people have still not put together. And we'll keep doing that, but not in that way. At least I don't think anytime soon. Also, how different is the fog now compared to when Benedict first arrived in the fog? Was it a more primal and dangerous place because his information wasn't widely known? Good question. And as I said earlier, time is a little weird in there. So he might have been there for a long time, but people may not have known of his stuff, and the others might have come in at different times, and it's a little wobbly the way it is done. So that's a very bad and abstract answer, but that's it. Okay, here I have a question from Card Clasher. What does Cypress, Ivory, and Memento Mori mean, and what language is it from? So I put some notes here. First of all, Cypress is the definition from Merriam-Webster says is a common name for various coniferous trees or shrubs of northern temperate region that belong to the family Cupressae. The word cypress is derived from the Old French cyprès. Alors voilà. So that's where cypress comes from. It is a type of tree. Then you have ivory, which is a material that nature uses to make animals mostly, and it should be left as something that nature uses and not people. And then Memento Mori is actually a Latin phrase that I loosely translated. My Latin is a little rusty. I took Latin in high school. It means remember that you have to die. And a memento mori in art is an artistic or symbolic reminder of mortality. So that's why it's called a memento mori. Yes?
I just want to answer a question that I've seen in chat a lot. No, we are not doing any more streamer exclusives.
No.
And specifically, I don't like seeing people that I already took the time to answer to personally.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow, I sense you got a bit of
sorry,
bruise there.
just
That's
like,
fine. But yeah,
come on, guys.
And you have their fans screaming, saying, "Oh, he needs to get something. She needs to get something," and we're like, we're not doing that. And to answer this a little more widely, also, people screaming, saying, "We want console exclusives." The idea is that we don't want to exclude anybody anymore.
Yeah.
And doing something exclusive literally means excluding other people, and we don't want to do that. The only reason why there are PC exclusives is because they were created before there were consoles, and we are unable, for one reason or another, to give them out to the console players, or else we would. So exclusion is never something that we're looking into. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Have you considered the idea of making new objectives for survivors? As of right now, generators are the only objectives survivors can do, and I believe that adding new objectives will make the game more fun and add more variety. It'll solve a lot of problems for killers also, because survivors only focus on one thing, which is generators, which causes the game to end in a few minutes. The second part of that question, I don't think is as simple as that. However, it is a very valid point. It's something that we've talked about. Something that we keep repeating, though, is that the core of the game will stay the same. However, the Lunar New Year is a good example of how we can embroider around it, and we can sort of spread out and find alternate objectives or optional objectives. It is the very first foray into that kind of thing that we've done. We'll very likely do more of that because I think it was very well received. And it might become a little more, far-reaching than the just having some gens that are specific or hooks that are specific.
But even then, as Survivor, when you were looking for the generators, you take the time to run around the map and try to find them. So the games were a lot longer, unless people were bringing BNPs. Then it wasn't.
That's pretty much it for the Q&A from the Steam forums. So that's it. I'll keep this because I made some important notes on there. Has Benedict already been against all killers, even the ones we don't know about, since he already knows stuff? I mean, who says Benedict has been in any trials? Did you play as Benedict? Did you see him?
I did not.
Then you don't know. Yeah, that's it. So it seems like this is probably the only ever Twitch stream where McLean or Bucket are not watching.
I'll go get it.
No. What's
No,
well, okay,
start,
and I'll do the from the web, and then
We'll
we'll
be
go
back,
to this.
guys.
Thank you very much for doing that, by the way. Okay, so let's go around the web and see what cool stuff people have been coming up with lately. And this time I don't even have to try to mangle your names since I wrote it down next. There you go. Thank you very much. That's adorably cute. This, hopefully it does not translate as horrible, horrible things, because I don't, I am not able to read that. All right, next one. That was a special request from Gabrielle. She made sure I put that in. Really cool. I don't know why there's something satisfying about seeing old school, physical drawings. I really like that style. That's really nicely done. And they're both very chill. I like that. Fish face smut. Yeah, it's a little dark on your screen, Bjorn, but this is the Trapper and the Wraith in a warm embrace under the moonlight. I like it. Alright. Very nicely done. I always love seeing artwork that's done that's very, very very punctual with our events. Okay, next one. So cute. Thank you. Another nice little... Ooh. Huh, interesting. Thank you. Next one we have... This is really cool. There was another one in that series. I tried to refrain from putting the whole series when I see something cool, but this is one I really like. Very dynamic. Awesome. I like this. Looks like the beginning of a really cool cartoon that I'd watch on Saturday morning. The smile of the wraith is upsetting, but it's very nicely done. This is the saddest thing. I love it. It's beautiful, but I hate those sad cartoons that made me cry when I was a kid. Yeah. Very cool. Another beautifully inspired piece of work. And yeah.
Of course you had to.
Well, it's really mild, this one, but I like it. I especially love the expression on that mask. All right, so thank you very much. That was delightful. Okay, so thank you for going to get this. I just wanted to take a second. We received a really cool box here. You can handle the box if you want.
Gonna read
Yeah.
this.
Okay, so I'm gonna read the note. You can open the box and show people. Dear Dead by Daylight developers, please enjoy the enclosed Valentine's Day cards that my wife has created for all of you in the Dead by Daylight style of the Killers. We wanted you to have a set of the Killer Valentine's Day cards because we both love the game so much.
Should I get up and like have them like super close
Can you
to
zoom
the
in?
camera?
Oh no, give them to Bjorn. He can fiddle.
Here.
Oh my God! You saw Bjorn's hands. I have been playing the game for about 2 years now when I'm able to, and she just watches me play as playing it would be too much for her. That's her own words. I hope that you would be so kind as to throw a shout out to her on one of your streams and maybe show the cards. Her name on Twitch is Ivory Deviant, and she even made the cards on stream. Thank you for a wonderful game, Eric and Monica. Well, thank you very much, Eric, and a big shout out to Monica. Those are absolutely gorgeous. We're very happy. We passed them around the office, showed them to people. Even the box is well made, and the little patina on it to make it look old and burnt. I love seeing people that like crafting.
My favorite is the Doctor. Wait, I'm gonna keep it for this. That's my favorite.
Nice. So there we go. Talented folks that we have managed to inspire somehow make me very happy. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'll put that back in securely. There you go. All right. So quickly, let's go back to our news to make sure that everybody's aware of everything. So Reddit Q&A was a huge success to the extent that we need to handle it better next time so we can answer more questions or in a better way.
Yeah,
but we'll do it again, definitely, because it was really cool.
Yeah.
The Lunar New Year has been extended, the event, until the 5th, which is on Monday, so that people get another opportunity during the weekend to get those cosmetics. Yes?
Go ahead. Sorry.
There will be a Lunar New Year survey that we're going to kick off next week, most likely. At some point next week, we're going to send the survey and get your thoughts and opinions on what happened.
And early next week, we are going to contact the screenshot contest winners also.
There we go.
Through email.
That's it. That's the extent of it. I will leave you now. But did you want to add something? You have nothing else?
Nothing else.
Okay. So the trapper hooking animation, I made a note of this, so I'll get an answer. And the other one is, what was the other one? When do we get weirdest? Okay, that's the notes. And then the words I want to leave you with today are from the clever Stephen Hawking. And he said, the greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance. It is the illusion of knowledge, which I thought was very clever. Then again, he's kind of a clever guy. That's it. So thank you very much for joining us again. Thank you, Bjorn, for, again, a very smooth ride. Thank you for joining me here today. And thanks to our mods. And yeah, really, that's it.
Bye, guys.
Have a great week.